Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. We have a fun and exciting debate today. And we're going to be talking about a little bit of the nuance behind centralization and decentralization. Joining us are two very important but very different players within the crypto ecosystem. Why don't we do very quick introductions and then we'll jump right in.
Sure, yeah. Hey everyone. My name is Hassan Ahmed. I'm the country director for Singapore at Coinbase. Moved to Singapore about 5 years ago to start the Coinbase franchise over here and never looked back.
Hi everyone, my name is Eva Lawrence. I am the head of EMEA for Figment. We are the largest independent staking provider covering around 38 networks and have offices in London, Singapore, Toronto and New York. And yeah, looking forward to the discussion today, guys.
Looking forward to it. We'll try and keep it friendly.
Yes.
with some spicy points here and there. First things first, I think when it comes to staking, for example, we've been hearing that the institutions are here for 5 years now. Where are the volumes? How do we think about it with respect to institutions? Are they really here? And if they're not, what is going on there?
Yeah, so the institutions are here when it comes to staking. They are staking. We have 15 billion in AUS. And what we're seeing is institutions not wanting to run everything themselves right now. So they're working with leading providers like Figment and others in the space for staking. They're working with leading custody tech providers. All of these things they want to work with the best in class, but they don't have the resources internally to run it themselves. So what we're seeing is maybe you don't know that a large institution is staking their soul, but they're doing it in the background. Maybe they're also purchasing ETP products. Maybe they're also looking at trading on the side. The institutions are here, but I would say it's not always obvious to everyone because they're not ready to be as public about it yet, especially when it comes to staking. But I think the next step will be the large institutions, and by that I mean banks, some of the world's largest asset managers, looking at offering these products to their end customer, and at that point it will become more visible.
And where do you find the break between the highly decentralized liquid staking protocols, the things that may not certainly pass risk and compliance committees of large institutional holders versus what you see?
So, I mean, I think when it comes to staking, staking on Solana is pretty expensive to run, right? To do it well, you need to have bare metal setup, right? You don't use cloud, AWS type setup. You need to have a lot of infrastructure to run the servers to support Solana staking. Now we have 130 people across 17, 18 countries now. And we have both the technical expertise and also the infrastructure to support Solana staking. And to do that well, I think it's very difficult for, say, a smaller firm to do that. It takes a lot of financial power backing in that sense. So I think when we see kind of institutions coming into the space and looking to work with staking providers, their first port of call is, okay, which large provider can I work with where I don't have to lose ownership of my assets and I am not creating a liquid stake token on top of it? For a lot of them, it's just about, they just about get past their risk and their management teams to explain to them what staking is, native staking on Solana, with its non-custodial protocol staking. You introduce a liquid staking element, and for a lot of these large institutions, their risk and compliance teams go, whoa, slow down there. That's way too much for me. So we've seen them, the institutions go to the large providers who have the support and the tech infrastructure, service, et cetera, to run staking, and are doing it in a non-custodial way, which focuses on protocol staking only.
Hey, should we make this a little more spicy and make it a bit of a debate format? So I'm happy to give my opening arguments if that's okay. Maybe 3 to 5 minutes. All right, thank you. So I assert that institutionalization does not lead to network centralization. Institutions are a big group of entities, from asset managers, market makers, hedge funds, even regular crypto exchanges, banks, and sovereigns, and so on. Really, it's a segmentation to differentiate them from individuals and developers that are building on-chain. Institutions also have just very disparate jobs to be done, risk appetites, and then also just a level of sophistication. So the first thing I would just posit is that institutions can indeed participate and engage in the network, especially at the application layer, without compromising any decentralization. So if you look at PayPal's PYUSD that was launched recently, they hooked onto the token extensions program that was launched. And for them, it was great because they were able to really use the composability and the expressiveness of the platform in order to be able to provide compliance with their risk posture that they wanted to do without compromising the consensus layer. I think there's a lot of exciting developments that are happening on the institutional side on Solana. I think we've in the last few days we've had announcements around SocGen deploying their stable. There's also Franklin Templeton that's deploying their MMF. There's also BlackRock that's moving their build fund over, and they all see the potential for the on-chain economy on Solana, and being able to really harness the performance at the execution level. The stronger version of my argument is that institutions can actually help promote decentralization. So Sol is the third most traded asset on Coinbase. And one of the ways that we help decentralize is to increase distribution of the native asset. So over the years, Coinbase has helped hundreds of thousands of users be able to access this native token as well. We also help with issuance. So we recently launched CBBTC on Base. But our users love Solana, and so do we. So we're very excited to announce that we will be bringing native CBBTC to Solana as well. Yeah. Just to close out two more things on this. So I think the most impressive display of institutions helping with diversification is with Jump's work on Franklin Dancer and Fire Dancer. Client diversity is one of the core components of the Nakamoto coefficient, and currently, everyone's really running on Onzo. So once Franklin Dancer and Fire Dancer are live, this is a huge upgrade on Solana's network decentralization as well. And then lastly, I would even posit that Solana Foundation is an institution as well. And one of the cool things that they've done very recently is their delegated staker program, where they've been subsidizing vote fees for individual validators and stakers. And I think that's been a resounding success. And it's really helped just bring individual and power user participants at the consensus layer as well.
Eva?
Congrats, first of all. Do you ever think that Coinbase is trying to do too much, trying to be involved in too many points on the value chain? That would be my question for you in terms of execution, trading, custody, staking, base now. Is there a point where Coinbase says we're doing too much, we need to leave some to other institutions, or we're creating a centralization issue by having so much under the Coinbase umbrella? Is that something that you discuss internally and something that you focus on?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. Like our mission really is to increase economic freedom around the world through the power of crypto. And I think the reality is that, when Brian and Fred started the firm, there just really was nothing in terms of core infrastructure. And I think, we really consider ourselves as a just core crypto company. So as we have, grown to provide just more services to consumers, to institutions, and to developers, we are very open to partnering on some of these solutions, with folks like Figment and like 21. But sometimes we just find that, given that we've got like 12 years of experience, we have the right security posture, we're the largest asset custodian in the world, sometimes we just have to build it ourselves to push the crypto economy forward.
Eva, do you think you can do both? Do you think you can, as an institution, be both decentralized and centralized? To go to your question?
I mean, centralization is a sliding scale, right? It's not absolute. It's not you're either decentralized, or centralized in our ecosystem anyway, right? What we're seeing with firms, even if they say they are decentralized, they're often as decentralized as they can be. So I think that what we need to do as an industry and as institutions within this industry is figure out where we fit on that sliding scale of decentralization. Now, I think that what we're seeing with all of the institutions coming into the industry, looking to invest in, build projects on Solana, is institutions beget institutions. And so in bringing in these institutions, you are actually making it more decentralized. You have more firms running trading, running staking, offering stable coins, all of these aspects. Bringing more institutions in, and as a result, we are seeing some more decentralization, because you're not just relying on one firm, and you're not just going to one firm to custody your Solana, to trade Solana, to buy Solana options. You are diversifying because you are working with different providers. And our view at Figment is that we are the leading staking provider, but we don't go into the custody space. You won't see us, and we have no plans to start our own wallet infrastructure. We are focused on being the best in class for staking, and that's our focus. And I think that then, we lend our expertise to other institutions coming into the space. The other issue that you have is, centralization is not just about institutions. We see it in the staking space. There are definitely some out there who are individuals or groups of individuals who are offering staking, and they're pushing it as, well, we're not an institution. But if a large proportion of the stake is centralized with one group of individuals or one individual, whether they want to call themselves a DAO, whether they want to call themselves a foundation, a group of Solana entrepreneurs, whatever they want to call themselves, that's still centralization. Whether or not it's centralized at Coinbase, whether or not it's centralized at Figment, having that centralized stake around one company is still centralization. So I think what we should focus on is, one, figuring out whether we are moving the centralization versus decentralization sliding scale slowly towards decentralization, and not just blaming this on institutions, right? It's not institution centralization is bad, everything else is fine. It's more decentralization should be the goal that we are all striving towards.
Yeah, so I agree with Eva that decentralization really is a journey. It's not binary at all. And I think one of the important things, as we're thinking about this is, it really depends, along with just hard incentives, on what is the culture and values of the ecosystem, and whether the community, the core developer community also cares about it. Because I think that also acts as a powerful social construct in terms of setting up norms for any kind of actor on the ecosystem to behave accordingly. So I think we see that in spades on the Solana ecosystem. I think there's other ecosystems that are also exhibiting similar behavior, but it's not always the case. I think we all know in the room that there's a lot of networks and network founders that just paid lip service.
Let me push you on that point a little bit, because arguably one of the things that Coinbase brings to the table is greater trust that allows people to, especially institutions, feel more comfortable coming in. Certainly institutions that are not using Uniswap are using Coinbase. And yet, when it comes to, say, stablecoins, which Eva brought up, Coinbase's offering, which is far more centralized, far more controlled, you can call someone, it's regulated, et cetera, is far and away way more successful than the decentralized alternatives. So how do you think about the mismatch between these two? Yeah,
and I would just say that Coinbase has a set of centralized and regulated services, but we also have a equally robust set of on-chain and self-custodial products and services as well, like Base, like Coinbase Wallet, and so on. I think that the reality is that you have to take the institutions on a journey, and they're going to start out with something that they're familiar with, where they can test the waters and understand what it looks like before they go deeper. I'm actually pleasantly surprised. This cycle, I would say that the institutions are here. If you even look at our financials, the institutional segment is healthier on a quarter-over-quarter basis than is the consumer segment. And we released products like Prime Web3 Wallet that lets them start custodially, but then start to deploy their funds and capital on-chain as well.
Eva, do you buy that argument, or do you think that at some point the institutions have to touch the asset class, whether it's decentralized, centralized or not, and it's just a matter of scale?
Yeah, I think that the institutions will want to take more control in the future. The way that they're approaching it is, come up with an idea, come up with a strategy, test it with a partner, test it with their own internal setup, and then touch the asset class by offering it to their customers. I think they're on this journey whereby we'll see their involvement grow as they get further along the line. I do think that the large institutions will very much be involved with the asset directly. We've already discussed today, the Franklin Templeton. We've seen be very involved with Société Générale. There was the Velocity event here this week. We saw those institutions and many more very well represented. And that is because they are seriously considering what products should they be offering on Solana. Should they be building something on Solana? So I don't think that there is a world where institutions say, you know what, I'm just going to outsource everything. I'm only going to work with partners. But it's more that at the stage they are in their journey towards offering products or offering more products, they're starting off with partners, but in the future they will very much be offering products themselves.
So I think one of the biggest benefits of centralization is being able to call someone, explain the problem. I think we call you guys a lot when there's a problem. Liquid staking protocols, decentralized stablecoins, et cetera, the fact that you are not able to have recourse, whether legal or actual, do you think that is here to stay and static, or do you think there's an opening for insurance or more programmatic features of these technologies that can mitigate some of that pain?
Yeah, I think that one of the most encouraging signs that we've seen in this cycle is that most institutions have consensus that building on open public networks is the approach that they want to take. And I think that was very different from a couple of cycles ago, where it was enterprise blockchain and DLTs and whatever word salad that people wanted to use. So I think it's a recognition that, look, they've taken the time to study what's going on. They've done their diligence. And for institutions as big as BlackRock to now start moving size on chain on Ethereum and Solana is a huge testament. And I think the rest of the industry will also sit up and take notice.
Eva, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, I mean, I think that when it comes to things like liquid staking, DeFi, and setups where there is no central point of contact for an institution, I think that we're not there yet. We need these institutions to be able to to ease themselves in, and from a risk and compliance and legal perspective, a lot of these firms can't get comfortable with that kind of a setup yet. If they're a smaller firm, then yes, that's fine for them, but large institutions do need a clear framework, a clear point of contact, and an ability to resolve any issues. So I think that will be what we'll move towards in the future, but it's not something institutions are ready to take on yet.
All right, last thing, 5-second answers. 5 years from now, staking and exchange volumes, what % decentralized, centralized?
Oh, I think the future for DEXs is bright. I definitely think that with all the improvements going on, we'll see most trading on-chain.
5 years.
Yeah.
And sorry, the percentage of what? I couldn't hear.
What % of staking and exchange volumes in total, so Uniswap versus centralized exchanges, in 5 years, decentralized versus centralized offerings?
I still think maybe 5 years' time, 60-40 to centralization, I would say.
Thank you guys so much.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.